I'm always really careful because when people say, what do you use? I don't always like to share because here's the deal. What I use might not be the best fit for you. Now that we're into this journey, I realize it works. It works well. So we can loosen up a little and just be excited to learn and light the fire rather than fill the bucket. So that's what I'm really excited about this year.
I love it. Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am so excited that you are here with us for this special episode. This is our much anticipated annual curriculum picks episode that Aby and I have done the last few years. And these are always so fun for us to do. So we're going to talk today, all day today. This is just going to be a one-part episode that we're not even going to leave you hanging for part two. This is going to be a one-part episode. We're going to talk about all the things that we're doing with our kids this coming year and some other things as well. And so we're super excited to be back with you. But before we get into our conversation, I want to say thank you to BJU Press Homeschool for sponsoring this podcast. We are so grateful for them. We're going to talk about some BJU Press curriculum today, which I'm very excited to share with you. But if you've not checked them out, bjupresshomeschool.com. Their materials won't just equip you for a successful homeschool journey. They'll prepare your child for a future full of possibilities so that your child can confidently move beyond homeschool, ready for whatever God has next. They've crafted their curriculum to give you the tools you need that are rooted in a solid biblical foundation. BJU Press Homeschool offers lessons that encourage critical thinking skills, as well as activities and lessons that support multisensory learning and the unique learning styles of your children. And they have both online and parent-led formats to fit your lifestyle. BJU Press Homeschool encourages a love of learning in your children, and they will be with you every step of the way. Again, visit them at bjupresshomeschool.com. That's bjupresshomeschool.com. Well, Aby Rinella, welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am so excited to be back with you. It always seems like so long. We used to record together all the time.
Yeah,
and
we did.
This year, it's just, we've kind of shaken things up. And so it's been a little while.
We're like ships in the night.
I know.
Right? I know. So I'm excited to be here too. And this is always a fun episode to do together.
Yeah. You know what I love about preparing for this episode is that as a homeschool mom, it makes me have to prepare for the school year before like the day before school.
I know, because when you told me we were doing this episode, you told me like in June, like I had 1 week of summer and I was like kicking and screaming. I'm like, no, I'm not even thinking about next year.
Right.
But then it forced me to, and a little bit of time had passed. And now that we're recording, I am so excited to start school. I'm like kind of in that, like, I'm not ready to be done with summer quite yet.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm so like, I'm excited to start school. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fun because this is the time I think that all parents are starting to think through. Well, many have started to think through it, but this is where it comes down to the wire. Like, okay, what am I actually going to do with my kids this year?
Totally.
And so you and I get asked constantly. We get messages. We talk to people at conventions. People are always asking us what we use for our kids for curriculum.
Yes. I just got 2 texts yesterday.
Did you?
And these moms were starting kindergarten. And so I want to tell every kindergarten mom right now, if you're listening, turn off this podcast and go read to your kid, because that's all you need to do this next year. But I'm always really careful because when people say, what do you use? I don't always like to share because here's the deal. What I use might not be the best fit for you. And just same as what I use for one of my kids isn't the best fit for the next. So we're going to share what we use, but this is in no way, shape, or form telling you that this is but that's the beauty of homeschool.
Right.
You do what's best for your family. You do what's best for your individual kids. We're just going to share some of the stuff because I always like to hear what people are using. Yeah. But that does not mean you go out and buy it. That means you can look into it and see if it's a fit for your children, because it might not be.
Yeah.
And we might get halfway through this year and go, oh, this isn't a fit. We need to recalibrate, right?
Right. Yeah, totally. So here's what I'm going to suggest to our listeners.
Okay.
Get a notepad and a pen.
Yes.
And write stuff down. As we're talking, write down something, if you're looking for history or science or language arts or whatever, maybe just jot down what it is that we're talking about. Maybe it's something that just piques your interest. Yes. And then go to the show notes. We will actually put this in a blog post on the website as well. So that blog post will be out when this episode comes out. And so you can go and we will have direct links to every single thing that we're talking about, both Aby and I. So it'll be easy for you to find it.
Yes.
But I don't want you to be like, oh, what was that one specific thing that they talked about? I do that on podcasts all the time. when I listen to podcasts, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to remember that specific thing. And then I forget. So
Totally.
get
So
a
if you're
notepad,
driving,
just hit pause.
yeah. And if you're driving,
Yeah.
it will be in the show notes. So please do not
That's right.
write it down while you're driving.
Yeah.
Public
Yes,
service
exactly.
announcement.
And before we get into it, there just are a couple of reminders. The first thing is pray before you choose anything for your kids.
Yes.
Everything that you do with your kids for this coming year should be covered in prayer.
Yep.
So that you know that whatever you're going to use with them is what's best for your family, what's best for them, what's best for your teaching style,
Yep.
and really what the Lord is directing you to use. So commit, maybe a week or a few days or whatever, just commit it to prayer and ask the Lord to guide you and to give you wisdom and doing what's best for your family. The other thing is, know what your goal is. This is a
Yes.
really important thing. And we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. We actually did an episode, it's been quite some time, with Zan Tyler. And we talked about creating a statement, kind of a mission statement for your homeschool and for your family. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. But if you've not listened to that one, go back and listen. It's been maybe 3 years since we've done that episode. It's been quite some time. But it's really important to know what your end goal is. And so,
and your goal might be different than Yvette and I's goal, which means your days are going to look different. Your curriculum choices are going to look different.
Yeah.
Again, that is the beauty of homeschool. Do not try to fit into our box. Like the whole point of why we homeschool is to fit into what God has for our family individually. And it's different for all of us.
Yeah, for
your
sure.
Your kids are interested in different things than my kids are interested in.
They totally are. And it's funny, I'm thinking back to our episode that we did last year. And I'll just tell this story really quickly. Last year, it was my first year with just Lacey. Brooklyn had graduated, so it was just going to be Lacey and I. She was going in 8th grade. And I was like, we're going to just dig into Charlotte Mason this year. Like, that's just what I decided was going to be the best thing. And so I did all this prep work. I spent weeks and weeks, even months, reading about Charlotte Mason. I mean, we've done lots of podcasts on Charlotte Mason, all that stuff.
Well, and because you were like, we're not going to be bound by textbooks and traditional. I just remember you're like, we're going to just kind of break out of that mold. Free spirit.
It was going to be amazing.
Remember.
And let me tell you, we had an amazing year, but we did not end up doing Charlotte Mason. I sat down with Lacey and I said, okay, here's what I'm thinking for the year. And she just looked at me. She's like, yeah, I just want to do textbooks, Mom. Yeah. And she loves it. She loves filling in the blanks. She loves
worksheets.
There's something about checking those answers and writing 100% at the top, And you know what I've realized with her is part of it is she wants to feel like she's in traditional school in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
And so for her, I think that's her way of feeling like, oh yeah, okay, so my friends at church who are in traditional school,
interesting.
They get to do this and they get grades on their papers. And so I want to grade on my paper too. It's really funny.
It's also how she's wired though,
totally.
and that's how her gifts and her talents. And I mean, that's what we have to remember is that all of our kids are uniquely made. But I remember that story. It was so funny because it's like, gosh, we have to die to ourselves, don't we?
Yeah. But you know what? We had such a great year and she loved it. She loved her textbooks that we, chose together and she did great. And so now she's going into 9th grade. So I only have 4 more years of homeschooling her.
That's
and it's
killing me.
Oh my goodness. It goes so quickly. So we, again, we're focusing on textbook work and it's great. She's learning, she's loving it. And this is what she thrives with. So
that's awesome.
So that's what I'm going to talk a lot about today.
And one thing that helped me when we very first started this journey is, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but it hit me, is the Kathy Duffy's 101 or 102 picks. What I loved about it is at the beginning, and this was 100 years ago, so I'm not sure if it's still like that, but I like the paper book, the actual book. I go to the website often to look at stuff, but there's tests in the beginning that say, you take this test of how does your child learn? What are their kind of like Lacey would be, I learn, the traditional textbook, but then it also has a test for how does mom like to teach? Because there are certain things that I'm like, I'm just not that mom. I just don't do that. And not that I can't be stretched, but if I try to get a curriculum that is just not going to fit with me, I'm not going to do it well. So it takes, how does a kid learn? How does a mom teach? Like, how are we both wired? And then it helps you find a curriculum where those things come together so that it's unique. I mean, there's not going to be any 2 homeschools that look the same. And so it's very unique. That helped me hugely. It helped me tap into my kids' learning style, their interest. It helped me tap into what kind of teacher I am. Yeah. And then it helped match me with things. And it was a jumping off point, right? It's not that now I have this formula because there is no formula, But it just helped me to think differently.
Yeah. Yeah. We also did an episode several years ago on learning styles. And so we'll link that in the show notes as well. That one was really interesting. It's so fascinating to see how our kids learn. And so those are
and they're all
things
different.
That are great. Yeah, they're all different.
You have 6 kids, you're going to have 6 different ways they learn and 6 different interests.
Which doesn't mean that you have to use 6 different ways of teaching all 6 different kids.
No.
But it's really kind of figuring out like, okay, collectively, what do my kids learn best? What, like you said, what works best for me as the teacher? And
totally.
So anyway, so let's dig in because I'm excited to share. And let me just say, don't think I've gone bonkers. I have a lot to share, but there's a method to my madness here, and I'll explain it kind of as I'm going.
Because otherwise it might feel a little intimidating to moms. You do not have to be insane like Yvette, and she's going to explain why she has so much, but she does not recommend you having so much.
Right. Yes. I will explain it as I go.
Yay!
But the first thing, and like I said, Lacey's going into high school. So the first thing, and we also have done an episode on this, it's called Homeschool High School by Carrie DeFrancisco, who's amazing, by the way. She is met her so lovely.
This a couple months ago. She was at our homeschool convention, and she's fabulous.
Yes, she is amazing. She's a retired homeschool mom. Yeah. If you have kids I would say even like going into middle school, but definitely high school, get this book. We will link the episode in the show notes for this because this book is fantastic. By the way, I forgot to mention this. This is really cool. We have done several series throughout the years on the podcast. And so we did this one. It was called Homeschooling Through the Years. And it actually kind of started because Carrie sent me this book. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. We should do homeschooling high school. And then I was like, well, then we should do one on homeschooling middle school. And then we should do one on homeschooling elementary and preschool and the after years. So it turned into this big series. But we've done several series. We've done them on homeschooling different subjects. We've done a ton of different ones. And so on the website, if you guys have not been to our website recently, Garrett has completely revamped it and it looks amazing. And so on the website, we have a section on there under podcast where you can look up the different series that we've done, and you can click on Homeschooling Through the Years, and it will bring up all of those episodes that we've done for Homeschooling Through the Years. Yeah, it's really awesome. So check that out. Well, of course, we'll link that in the show notes as well. But it's a great resource because then if you're just looking for a very specific thing, you can find it under those different series that we've done throughout the years. So anyway, but so start with this, Homeschool High School. And it's fantastic. It's so thorough. She has done such a great job with it. The next thing I wanted to share was this is the high school planner that Lacey chose. It's by Not Consumed, and it is amazing.
Love.
She has done such a beautiful job. I don't know if you guys have used Not Consumed. I know Aby loves Not Consumed Ministries.
I'm probably the biggest fan.
Yeah, they have such great resources. And so this one, Lacey loves because, you know, she's my textbook girl. She loves to fill in blanks. She likes to check boxes. She really wanted a good planner. She loves to have a planner where she can write down, you know, her different, assignments and what's expected of her. And she wants to be able to track with all of that. And so this one is amazing. We were at the Branson Homeschool Convention for Teach Them Diligently. And Kim Sorges-Jones, who's the founder of Not Consumed, she was there. And so she was showing us this. And Lacey was like, yep, that's the one. And it's got cool stickers and stuff. But the whole thing that I love about it is that it is it's a biblical worldview planner, if you will. It's got scripture woven throughout all of it. And it's just very encouraging. It really helps kids to kind of plan. We were talking about setting your vision and knowing exactly what your end goal is. And this teaches the kids how to do that. So it's not just like a calendar book. It really walks them through like, what do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What are your goals in life? How is the Lord growing you? How are you going to do these things? And then, you know, it's got, of course, the calendar pages and stuff, but it's kind of a like life workbook, if you will, and academic planner, but it's amazing. And they have them for, I'm pretty sure they have them for elementary and middle school as well, or maybe the elementary middle school is the same. I'm not exactly sure. But this is the high school one and it's fantastic. So Lacey is super excited about this one. And I am too. Now I want to talk kind of about our morning time and what we're going to be using for our morning time routine. And so this is where stuff starts to kind of pile up. So just understand, I am not expecting to get through all of these things in 1 year. Most of what I'm going to be using, especially for morning time, is going to be kind of spread out through the next 2 or 3 years. Because what I've learned, Aby, is when I put that timestamp on something and I'm like, we're going to do this and we're going to get through it by the end of this year, it seems like we're forcing it when sometimes it's just not as enjoyable if we do that. So
and it stifles rabbit trails, deep conversations, and that's the most important thing with homeschool is that you guys are following your kids' love of learning, their questions. Like, what if they want a rabbit trail? You have the freedom to do that. Like, you cannot be owned by a curriculum schedule. That is probably the worst thing that you can possibly. You'll make your kids hate learning. Yeah. And so the beautiful thing, and real quick, if you don't know what morning time is, if you're new to that concept, it's a time in the morning where you gather. It's not the kids doing their independent work, where you work through different things together. And some days you might do A, B, and C. And then the next day you might do B, C, and D. And then the next day. And it's just kind of some people call it like morning basket, or it's kind of like a smorgasbord of really great things that you can dive into, following the kids' interests. But it's an incredible time to do the rabbit trails, the deep talks, talk through life, talk through what's going on. And so you absolutely cannot follow somebody else's schedule because you follow your kids in that time. So I love how you say that, like, this is what we're going to use and that's what we do. But it's going to take as long as it takes. Right? Yes. It's going to take as long as it takes.
Yep. No time limit on it.
Correct.
So I am beyond excited about this one. This is from BJU Press Homeschool, and it's called Bible Doctrines. And you guys, this book is amazing. We in the past for morning time, we have often just read through like a book of the Bible. Last year we were reading through Proverbs. We would do a proverb a day. And by the time we got to the end of the year, Lacey was like, Mom, I really like Proverbs, but can we move on to something else? And as a family, we do our family devotions every day and we read through a book of the Bible. And so I'm not saying that's too repetitive. You can never get too much of God's word. But I felt like I wanted something that was just a little bit more than just reading the Bible. I really wanted to dig into like how, not even how to study the Bible, but really what the Bible is about. What is it teaching us? How is it changing our lives?
But again, you were following Lacey, you listened, right? Because if you were just like, nope, we got to get through every single proverb, guess what she's going to do? She's going to dread Bible time, which is the last thing in the world we want to do. Yes. So you were in tune to saying, okay, she's hungry for the Bible, but we need to, what is she hungry for? And so that's really what it is. It's listening for those little clues in your kids.
Yes. Yeah. You're exactly right. And I don't want her to dread reading God's word or learning about, God. And so really quickly, I'll just kind of read through some of the contents of this book. So it's called Bible Doctrines, the why, what, and how. And they talk about doctrine, the why, what, and how is doctrine. What is that all about? Then it talks about the word of God, understanding scripture. It talks about God. So then it breaks it up into God and like, who is God? It talks about the Trinity, the attributes of God, which I think is amazing. I love that. Yeah. I started reading with her last year, Knowledge of the Holy by A.W. Tozer. Oh yeah. Which talks about the attributes of God. And it's a really good book, but she was just like, I am just not tracking with this book right now.
It's deep.
And so we put it down. It is a deep book. So I just thought, you know what? She was in 8th grade. We may pick it up, maybe. I read that book my 11th grade year. So I think it was a little early for that, though. She's crazy smart. So it's not that she doesn't understand it, but I think this will be better. So this one has a whole chapter on the attributes of God, the sovereignty and providence of God, God the Father. And then Unit 4 is the Son of God. Unit 5 is the Spirit of God. And so it breaks up the Trinity. Then it talks about God's creation and salvation provided by God, the people of God, and the triumph of God. And so it ends with the triumph of God.
It feels almost like, remember when our kids, because we want to share a little bit, if you have younger kids, this is obviously not for them, but it reminds me of the Apologia, What We Believe series that is so good for young kids. It hits all those things, but in a younger, in an earlier way. So it sounds kind of like that for older kids.
Yes. And that one, I think that one is specifically their 10th grade Bible curriculum.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, who cares about the label on it? So that's what I said. And so that book is pretty deep. We are actually with that one. I'm going to start out by using the videos because BJU Press has amazing videos of teachers. They're not live, but you can watch them, whenever is convenient for you. And we've been in their studio. It's amazing. And they have these teachers who really do an excellent job of teaching their curriculum. And so this one almost feels kind of, I watched a sample video and it doesn't feel like a sermon, but sort of, but like easy to grasp.
Right.
And so I really liked the guy who was teaching it. And I thought this would be really fun instead of us just reading it or me just reading it out loud or her reading it by herself. So we're actually going to use the online videos for this one.
Yeah, it's good to mix it up. I think kids get more when you have different multimedia.
Right.
Do a video, then have a conversation, then read a book, and then give an example. Yeah,
exactly. So this is one that you definitely could do. Like if you wanted your child to do this independently, they could do that, and you could do it with the videos, or you could just do the textbook and maybe get the teacher guide to go with it, whatever works best for you. But these ones are going to be amazing. So I love this one.
That's the problem I'm finding with middle school, high school, especially high school. The kids have all this independent stuff, but I'm like, but wait, I want to do that with you. But wait, I want to learn that too. But wait, I want to, right? And so it's like, I want to do all the things my kids are doing. But with multiple age level, I can't do every single thing. But man, I just want to go back to school and be homeschooled.
You don't have 83 hours in a day.
Darn it, no.
7 days a week. Oh man. Okay, the next thing that we're going to be using during our morning time, and this is going to be one that's going to be kind of spread out throughout a few years. This is definitely not going to be a, freshman year only. We're going to get through this beginning to end of the year. But this one is from Master Books, and it's called The History of Religious Liberty. Ooh. And this one I'm super excited about. So it details the history of religious persecution between the 16th and 18th centuries. And it explores ideas and the sacrifices that helped to create religious liberty in America. So I love that it takes you through that. And then kind of to supplement, and it's, again, I've been reading through this and it's got, these books don't go with it, but I'm pairing these books with it. So again, this will just be part of our morning time. We will just read these kind of at our leisure as they come. But to pair with that is, this one is called Early Church Fathers. And this is also by Master Books. And this one is biographies on several different early church fathers. So you've got John Wycliffe, Martin Luther, John Knox, William Tyndale, and several others. And so they're just like short biographies on these people. And what I love about books like this is if there's somebody that your child's like, oh, that's really interesting, I would love to learn more about John Knox. Well, then you can go find a full biography on John Knox and study him or do whatever, works for you. And so it's Legends of the Faith is the book here. So we'll link that as well. And then along with that, we will do, these are really cool. These are called eyewitness books. These are from Apologia. And so there's the New Testament Eyewitness. And this one says it uncovers the truth about the New Testament with this highly visual presentation of the history and formation of the canon in the New Testament. So it talks about who wrote the New Testament. How do we know? How was it handed down? How can we know that we have the original text? And it's just a fun, for those watching on video, you can kind of see.
Fun. It's pretty.
It's not a comic book.
It's visually appealing.
Visually appealing. And so this one is the New Testament Eyewitness. And did I say these are from Apologia? I think I did.
Okay.
So they're New Testament Eyewitness, the Old Testament Eyewitness.
Ooh, I like it.
And then there's the Jesus Eyewitness. And so they're all kind of part of the same group. And there's more than this. These are just the three that I chose. And so I feel like these kind of all go together with the history. You are going to be doing this for 4 years. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
That's the goal.
We're spreading this out. This is not all going to be this year.
I love it.
So that's going to be part of our morning time. And then the last thing that will be part of our morning time, I'll talk about books because we always have a book that we're reading together. I think I'll talk about those at the end. But in our co-op, Lacey and I are doing a new co-op this year. We're super excited about this one. And she's taking a leadership class in this co-op, which I think is amazing. Because, I feel like that's one of the things that for homeschool kids, people might be like, well, they don't have student council and they don't have leadership classes and stuff. Right. Well, this co-op does.
That's awesome.
They learn leadership skills. And so one of the books, this is also by Not Consumed. This is called Becoming a Servant.
Oh, I love those.
And they're small, fun workbooks, but this is what her co-op, the mama who's teaching that co-op class on leadership is using this book. And she's also using this one on navigating friendships, because one of the ways to be a good leader is to be a good friend.
Yeah.
If you're not a good friend, it's really hard to be a good leader. And so she's using both of these. And so we got these from Not Consumed as well. And of course, we'll put links to those in the show notes. But the Becoming a Servant one is serving God. It says serving God is obeying and honoring him in a way that allows others to see his goodness. And so, you know what? It's not all about us. It's all about God.
Yes.
Imagine that. And then the Navigating Friendships one says, on this journey, you'll need a great captain. And, as we are navigating life and friendships and just different seasons of life, we need to learn how to be good friends, and how not just to be good friends, but how to choose good friends, because, walk with the wise and be wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. And so it is my goal in life. One of my goals in life is to help my girls understand to choose wisely when it comes to the people that they surround themselves with.
I love that.
So yeah, I love these. So that's kind of it for my morning time, morning basket, whatever you want to call it. Have you tried CTC Math yet with your child? Here's a testimonial from another happy homeschool mom. Amber said, I'm absolutely thrilled with CTC Math. It's a rare find that I've used with my children for more than 5 years now. I have 6 children using CTC Math, and each child has found it easy to navigate and very applicable. Thank you so much for all that you are doing in providing quality math lessons for my children. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com. That's ctcmath.com. Join Apologia for the Homeschool Bootcamp, a free video series that provides practical guidance and wisdom from experienced homeschool parents. You'll discover how to equip your family for academic, social, and spiritual success. Plus, you'll discover how to build deeper and stronger family relationships. Homeschool Bootcamp covers how to break free from the public school mindset, daily planning, supporting students with learning challenges, homeschooling as a working parent, navigating the high school years, and much more. Find this incredible free homeschool resource at apologia.com/bootcamp. All right. You ready to move on to math?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Let's do math. All right. Here's my math thing. And I am going to be completely and totally transparent with our audience and with you right now.
Uh-oh.
Lacey loves science. That's her thing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. So we're really science heavy this year. She loves science. She wants to be a midwife. I'll talk a little bit more about that. She loves writing. She does not love math. She gets it from me. I won't say she hates math, but she is not my math girl. Like, she just does. I mean, she does it because she has to,
right,
not because she wants to. She would never in a million years ask to do a math problem for fun. Right. She just doesn't like it. And so we have really, over the last couple of years, I won't say that we've pushed math aside, but we've not made it our priority. And so this year she will be doing pre-algebra, which I hesitated to share that because I thought, you know what, a lot of kids do pre-algebra in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and she's doing pre-algebra in 9th grade. But then I was like, well, you know what, I just need to be real with my audience, because this is the beauty of homeschooling.
Right.
Like, I want to just show, like, it's okay if my 9th grader is doing pre-algebra, because God has made each of our kids so uniquely and so differently with different gifts and talents and abilities. And math is just not her thing.
Well, and the reality is if it's not her thing, then like if you did it in the traditional school way, then she would be doing calculus, right? Her senior year. And she's not going to need, if she's not math wired, God's not going to put her into a position that she's going to need calculus. Like math wired people are going to need calculus. And so it would be pointless. It would be a waste of time when you could be using that time for other things that are geared more for what she is wired for, right?
Right.
And so I just think we have to break away from this traditional way of thought of every kid is the same. So every kid has to follow the same trajectory, which isn't even biblical, right? We're all created unique, and God has a plan for each of us that is different than that. We're the body, right? So every arm, we're not all going to be the arm. And so maybe the arm needs calculus, but maybe the leg doesn't. It needs something else. And so we have to break away and we have to stop feeling guilty about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Some of my kids will do calculus, some won't. And that's okay. And some of my kids will learn something different. Yeah. Praise God for that unique, independent way that we do things.
For sure. For sure. So she doesn't even care. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do pre-algebra, whatever. So I have planned out all of her math for the next 4 years. And she's going to be totally fine. She's going to get through what she needs to get through, pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry.
That will help in life, right? She's probably going to know how to balance a checkbook and how to open a bank account.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm getting there because this is actually the math that we're most excited about.
Yeah.
And she chose this one as well because this is what she was excited about. So this is also by Not Consumed, and this is their new consumer math.
We did that.
I don't know. Did you do it last year?
We did it last year.
Did you love it?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It is the most, sorry, I'll let you talk about it, but we did it.
It's okay.
So I can share because we did it. It was amazing. It was relevant. We did not do every single, you're going to want to go through because some of them you're like, like right now in 9th grade, this isn't really relevant, but get a basic. It was so good and such a great overview. And you know what? As I was doing it, I'm like, most kids that graduate high school with calculus don't know how to do this. Right. And it's crazy how you see these 20-year-olds who don't know how to do regular life math. Right. I loved it. It was interesting the way it was written, the way it was laid out, held my high schoolers' attention. Absolutely. I think is a must do.
Yeah, I think so too. And so, like I said, Lacey actually picked this out. She saw this at the Not Consumed booth in Branson, and she was like, I want to do that book. And here's the thing. This one is geared towards 11th and 12th grade, but Lacey just got her first real job.
Ooh.
I know. And so she's working at a restaurant as a hostess and she loves it. And she's getting a regular paycheck now. And so she wants to learn how to manage her money. She's my saver. She's my girl who wants to save her money. If she has something she wants to buy, she'll save her babysitting money, whatever it is, Christmas, birthday money. And she'll get that thing that she needs or wants to buy. And so when she saw this, she was like, what is consumer math? So I kind of explained it to her. And this is great. It teaches how to create a budget, how to write a business plan, understanding saving and investing, and just kind of the basics of income and taxes and all this. Some stuff that like I'm still now trying to figure it out.
Well, and some of it, what I realized with that, because it's at 11th, 12th, is it's broken down where you can do all the sections that apply to her now. But if you're saying like this doesn't, you can hang on to those sections and do them in it's not it doesn't necessarily build where you have to follow it. Pick the sections that apply to her now, save the sections that don't. And then her senior year, be like, okay, now we can talk about mortgages. You know, I really like it for that.
Yeah. Yes. I noticed that when I was looking through it and I was like, oh, we can kind of skip around and do what is most relevant to her today. So this is another one that we're not going to get through all of this year.
Right.
We're going to focus on the stuff that she wants to understand this year as she has a job and is learning to manage her money.
Yep.
And then we'll just keep this will kind of be for the next 4 years.
Yes.
So we'll use it
for that.
Yeah. And it's great. And again, like everything else with Not Consumed, it is all written from a biblical worldview, biblical perspective. And so she's got scripture woven in through it. And it's fantastic. So, so that's what we're doing for math. All right. Science. We are big on science here with Lacey because like I said, she loves science. She gets it. She just loves it. That if she could just do science and just write, that's what she would do all the time. Those are the things that she loves to do. Like I mentioned, she already knows that she wants to be a midwife. She's already met with a few midwives. Like she has a midwife, book that she is studying right now. Like, I mean, this is what she knows that she wants. And so she loves the study of the human body. And so I was like, okay, this is what we're going to start focusing on when it comes to science, at least this year and for the next probably couple years. So the first one is Apologia, and this is their health and nutrition curriculum. And it's fantastic. Again, I mean, I looked through it and it's so good because it covers physical, nutritional, emotional, social, mental, and spiritual aspects. And it teaches them all of these things. So again, everything we do, it's written from a strong biblical perspective. And so it teaches them all of those things through the lens of scripture. And it's amazing. And so with this, I love the videos that Apologia does. Again, we don't do a lot of videos, but for this, I haven't decided yet if we're going to do videos or just read this one. This one we'll probably read because this one will be, again, parsed out through the next few years. We will not get through all of this in the next year. I'm guessing this one will be at least 2, maybe 3 years that it will take us to get through this. And so again, we can even kind of pick apart like, oh, let's focus on mental health, for the next couple months. Let's focus on nutrition for the next few months. And we can use other resources and stuff. So we've got this one. And then these come with the student notebooks are great that go with this as well, especially for a student like Lacey who loves to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So they've got the student notebooks and I'll link all of those in there. Okay. This is kind of the wonky part of our science. Last year, I told you guys that we were going to use Wonders of the Human Body because Lacey loves this and she thinks it's fascinating and amazing. And it is when we study how God created the human body to work. So this one is volume 1. There's actually 2 volumes.
And who's that through?
This is Master Books.
Okay.
So we started this one last year and Lacey loved it. But then we found out that the co-op that we're doing this coming year is doing this exact same curriculum. And she wanted to do it in her co-op class.
Right.
Which totally makes sense. And they'll be able to do more creative labs than what, I was willing to do at home. And she'll be learning she's got, several friends at co-op. So she'll be in these classes with her friends. And so she said, I really want to do this, but I want to wait until we do it with co-op. So we've done most of this book. And so we're going to basically just shelf, I shelved it for the last part of the year. But she still wanted to do science. So we looked through a bunch of different science options. And I realized we hadn't really done a general science curriculum. So I said, well, let's get general science and we'll focus on that. So then I got the Apologia, general science. So we did this the last part of 8th grade last year. And we have not finished this. So I know this is confusing, but we're going to finish general science, or at least get as much through it as we can, the first semester while she's doing Wonders of the Human Body at co-op, because we've already done the whole first part of Wonders of the Human Body. So we'll still do anatomy and physiology through Wonders of the Human Body, but we're gonna keep going with general science. And again, it's one, however long it takes us to get through it is fine. I mean, general science covers astronomy, meteorology, oceanography, earth study, geology, paleontology, and environmental science. So it covers all of those things. And we've not dug deep into all of those. We've dug into some of them. But again, this one's amazing. This one, I have loved the videos. Sherry Seligson, who we've had on the podcast several times, she is actually the author of this book, and she does the teaching videos for it. And you just go at your own pace with them. And she does such a good job. I love her videos. They're fantastic. So this one we are actually doing by video. And then we read that, but the videos they line up perfectly with the chapters. And Lacey really likes the videos. As a matter of fact, when we were in Branson at Teach Them Diligently, Sherry was there. And Lacey was excited to meet her because she was like, you're my science teacher. You're Sherry Seligson. And so it was really fun for Lacey to actually meet her in person for the first time. So we've got general science and Wonders of the Human Body. And again, this one is a 2-volume set. So it's kind of a lot to get through in a year. I don't know that I would recommend. I mean, if you're very, very diligent and do every single lesson as it's laid out, you could get through it in a year, do volume 1, semester 1, and volume 2, semester 2. But I feel like that's, it is a high school anatomy physiology course, very well done, very scripturally based. But I just feel like for us, it was kind of a lot to do it all. Like if we had done both volumes in a year. So anyway, so there's this one. It's fantastic. Along with anatomy and physiology, because it's Lacey's thing, I got her this year and she was super excited about this. It's an anatomy coloring book.
Ooh.
And let me just tell you guys, if
and who's it through?
This we got from Apologia. It's by Kaplan is the not the author, I don't know, but I got it through the Apologia website. So we'll link to this, but it is really amazing. And it's bigger than I thought it would be. But it's got like all the different body parts, and then you label the different body parts, and then it gives you kind of a description of that specific body part. And if you have a student who is studying anatomy and physiology at any level, I would say from middle school through high school and through college, this book is amazing for them because they have to color in the different parts of the body, and then they have to label them. And it's just, I think it will help. Lacey likes to color and draw and stuff. She's very artistic.
It just solidifies it. And there was the right, probably you're the left brain people, especially.
Yeah. Yes. So this is fantastic. I just think it's a great resource. It has 450 plus illustrations. Wow. And then it has flashcards. It's got self-quizzing in the back. So it's not just your typical coloring book. Though with this, I would say get some colored pencils because it's fine lines that you're going to be coloring. So you don't want to use your like Crayola crayons with this. That is not going to do it's not going to do a very good job of that. You want to get some nice colored pencils for this. All right. One more science.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I told you it was going to be
one child.
This is one child, but again, please understand, yes, this is not all stuff. Some of these are just supplemental. This is not, I'm not like, okay, Lacey, we're going to do school from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. every day of the week. I know it sounds like a lot. It's not as much because a lot of these I'm supplementing with. So this last science one is definitely a supplement that we will use over the next 4 years. This is by Master Books, and it's called Elements of Faith. And this is one of the neatest books I've seen. So it goes through the periodic table. It says a creation-based journey through the periodic table. And it takes the different elements and it points them back to scripture, if that makes sense.
Cool.
So yeah. So I was like, okay, what's one that I could share? Because I wanted to make a little bit of sense. So hydrogen, for instance, hydrogen, it starts out, it's got a verse and it says, "And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." And then it talks about the data of hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, making up over 90% of it. It was discovered in 1766 by the English chemist Henry Cavendish. Isn't that a fun last name? Cavendish. Who later in 1781 showed that it was formed by the combustion of hydrogen in the air. That water was formed by the combustion of hydrogen in the air. And it goes to all these different facts about hydrogen and what it is. And then it gives an analysis of it. And then at the end, it's got some fill in the blanks, but then it has what's called living water application. And it talks about how we can apply these different elements to our lives in scripture. And so I'll just read a little excerpt from the book. And it says, Jesus met a woman at the well in Samaria. He told her that his followers would receive living water that would give them eternal life. He said, "Whoever drinks of this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst." And then it says a little bit more, but then at the end of the application part, it says, just as physical water is needed for biological life, living water is vital for our life and growth as Christians. And it goes on to talk a little bit more about that. And so it just is really cool because it goes through all the different elements. So this one, again, is one that I'll use as, just a supplement. I mean, I was like, at first, like, well, how am I going to relate that to the study of the human body and anatomy and physiology, since that's really what we're focusing on with Lacey right now. And then, I realized like the human body requires a variety of elements. And so it fits perfectly. And whatever science you're studying, this is a great resource for you to have. It's almost like having a dictionary on hand, a Christian elements dictionary on hand that you and your kids can study whatever elements you might be studying in whatever science you're using. So this is a great, just all around whatever science you have. And again, this one's Master Books. So that's our science. I'm almost done. I promise. Language arts. And this is the last of my crazy language arts. Lacey loves to write. She has taken several writing classes. She's, done several different curriculums. She enjoys all different sorts of writing. And so she has done IEW in the past, IEW's Institute for Excellence in Writing. But it's been a couple of years since she's done any IEW. And so we are going back to that because she is the one who chose. She said, I really want to do IEW. I feel like that's going to make me the most successful, and not that other curriculum is not successful in teaching your kids how to write, but because she's familiar with IEW, that's what she chose for this year. So we are doing structure and style for students. And this one is year 1 level C. She's done year 1 level A and B, but not completely. She's done parts of them, if that makes sense. We've never gone to the very end of one. So this year we're going to start this one. And it's such a great curriculum in really teaching kids how to outline and summarize, how to write cohesive paragraphs. I think some people still have a hard time with that. So like, how do I parse out these different sentences to make sense? And where do I start the new paragraph? Where does the other one supposed to end? It helps them to create stories. They can produce reports and critiques, essays. Lacey likes writing essays. She thinks that's fun. Okay. So it will help her to develop essays, and then be able to just translate her thoughts and ideas into writing. And so we are going back to IEW and super excited about this. But here's the thing. I'm going to be super honest. One of the reasons that I struggled with IEW years ago is because I didn't really understand how to teach IEW. You can do it independently, but I didn't really understand how to teach it myself very well. And so she's done it with a couple of co-op classes, and she has enjoyed that. And it's been great because those teachers really were well educated in how to teach this specific method of writing. But I have struggled with that. Well, this year, I realized again, and I knew this from when we did classical conversations years ago, but I don't know, for some reason, it just didn't click in my mind, that using their teaching, writing, structure, and style, this is basically the teacher training on how to teach IEW curriculum. And so I am going through this summer myself. I've already started going through it, and it's so good. And I've been through part of this when we did essentials for classical conversations years ago. But this was when Brooklyn was in 4th grade. So we're talking, I don't know, 10 years ago, I guess. Maybe. Yeah, I think it was about 10 years ago. It's been a long time since I've been through any of this training. And so if you are planning on doing IEW with your kids, I highly recommend. You don't have to do it, but I'm here to say it will be so much easier for you, and you will stumble so much less if you will do the teacher training. And you don't have to do it all at one time. You can do it as you're teaching your kids. So you can just kind of watch the parts of the video that are the parts of the video that your kids are the parts of the curriculum that your kids are learning at any given time, if that makes sense. So you can just kind of track with them. But this is amazing. It's taught by Andrew Pudewa, and it's such a fantastic, fantastic teaching tool. And I just thought, you know what? She's got another 4 years. And because she likes writing, I really want her to be a very good writer. And she wants to be a good writer. She taught herself, by the way, did I tell you, Aby? She taught herself how to write cursive this past year.
Oh,
she
fun.
never wanted to do cursive before. And all of a sudden last year, she was like, I want to learn how to write in cursive. And so I was like, well, I've got cursive books that I've had sitting on the shelf for all these years. And she picked it up, and within a couple of weeks, she just kept practicing and practicing. And now she writes in cursive. It's so funny. But anyway, these are just, in my opinion, I think IEW is the best writing curriculum. It's just laid out in a way that is really easy for kids to understand, but it's really helpful if you have the teacher guide to teach you how to write. Anyway. Along with that, we've got Fix It Grammar. Have you used Fix It before, Aby?
We started into it last year.
Okay. It's so fun. So basically your kids kind of become the editor of this book.
Yes.
And so it takes them through a story. This one is level 3. This is Robin Hood. And it's so much fun. They get to go through and they get to identify the different parts of speech. They get to basically correct the story. So if there's, if they need capitalization, or if it needs end marks or commas or different punctuation, they kind of become the editor of the story. And so, and they're fun to read. They, do copy work with it and stuff, which Lacey doesn't always do the copy work. but for younger students, that would be really beneficial for them. So Fix-It Grammar is what we've got there. And that's it. Was that enough? Oh, I didn't tell you the books that we have planned.
Okay.
I'll run through these really quickly. So these are the books that I just have on our list. We will read more and may not get through all of these. It will kind of depend on what Lacey, by the way, these books I have not yet run by Lacey. So she might look at some and then go, yeah, I'm not so interested in that one. But
right.
This is my like dream list of the books that we'll do.
Okay.
The Case for Christ. We actually are halfway through that book. We paused it for summertime. That's by Lee Strobel, and she's really enjoying this book. So we're going to finish The Case for Christ. Okay, Aby, you were talking to Greta Eskridge a few weeks ago, and you asked her at the end of her episode what her favorite book was.
Yes.
And you remember what she said?
Hiding Place, because it's all of our favorite books.
Yes, she said The Hiding Place. And then you were like, but there's another book that comes after it. Tramp for the Lord.
Yes.
And you said, but that one's not as good as The Hiding Place.
I agree.
Have you read it?
Yes, I have.
You did read Tramp for the Lord?
I did read Tramp for the Lord, but I don't think there's a book that tops The Hiding Place.
Okay, I think you are correct, but I'm like The Hiding Place and then Tramp for the Lord is like right below it.
It
and
was
then
definitely
right below
good.
That is The 5 Silent Years.
Okay.
And you were making fun of that title too.
Yeah, and I haven't read it because I'm like, who can write a whole book?
A book about being silent.
Yeah, for 5 years.
I'm telling you, it is
I know,
so
it's on
powerful.
my list. It's on my list.
It needs to be on your list. The 5 Silent Years of Corrie ten Boom. It was written by Pamela Roswell. She was Corrie's last assistant who kind of helped her through life until her death. And it is so powerful. I can't even tell you. It's such a good book.
I'm going to
read this because I've read, of course, I think Lacey's read The Hiding Place probably 3 times at least. And then we read Tramp for the Lord together last year. So this year we're going to do The 5 Silent Years.
Love.
Such a good book. The Door in the Wall. Got this one. We're going to read that this year. I'm hoping to get to Screw Tape Letters with her. I'm reading that one again
right now.
It's so good.
Yeah.
She has resisted reading this book. I don't know why, but I will get her to read this book or read it with her before she graduates high school, because this has been, I would say, next to
I didn't read it until into my 20s though.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have someone read it too early because it's too good to make them trudge through it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like it's too good to force because it is very good.
But I think she might be ready this year.
Yeah.
Every year I try. And I'm just telling you, if by the time she gets to 12th grade, if she hasn't given the green light to read it, I'm just going to make her read it, because
or just wrap it up as a graduation gift.
Right. Yeah. It's so powerful. It's so good. This is one of the most life-changing books I've ever read ever.
I think it's very good.
I read this in 11th grade when I read Knowledge of the Holy by A.W. Tozer. Those were like 2 of my 11th grade books. And this one is life-changing. If you have not read Screw Tape Letters, you must read it. It's by C.S. Lewis. Then this one, and this kind of goes with, us doing like the founding fathers of the church and all of that. So maybe I should have put this in that one. But this one is St. Augustine. We're going to read about St. Augustine this year. He's an early church father. And then Carry On, Mr. Bowditch. Have you read this one?
Yes, that's part of our early, Winnie did it 5th grade.
Okay.
With American history, because it was a part of American History Sunlight.
Yeah. Yeah. I've not read this one.
It's
but
very
I've heard
good.
Really good things about it. So hopefully
we like it.
Yeah. And then this one, I already mentioned this one, The Case for Christ.
Yes.
So,
we did that one.
Which there is, by the way, The Case for Christ for kids.
Yes.
As well. You can read that because this book is pretty heavy. I actually thought it was going to be a little heavy.
There's also The Case for Christ for youth, abridged for not kid. Okay. So there's the kids, which is like kids. Yeah. And then there is The Case for Christ that's kind of a, what do you call it? Like a youth edition.
Okay.
So it's for maybe middle school or honestly, even adults. I might even not even be called the youth edition. The adults that want the overview, but not the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is that option as well.
This book is very heavy.
Yes, it is.
And I've asked Lacey several times, I'm like, you good? You tracking with it? And she's like, yep, let's keep going. She's
there is
enjoying
an
it.
easier version, you could say. There is the kids, but and the kids, I think it was like a anyway, there is an easier, what do you call it? Like an abridged? But I don't know if it's not really abridged, but it's,
I don't know.
It's like that. But anyway,
okay.
that's an
we'll
option.
find it. Yes. And we'll link to it. There's also the Case for Christ movie. I was actually talking to a friend of mine a few months ago, and we were talking about that. And she was like, I was going to read the book, and then I realized that there was a movie. So I just watched the movie.
That's funny. That's very funny.
And I have seen the movie, and it's really good.
Yeah,
as well.
it is.
So
if you
want the easy way out,
just watch the movie.
It's still impactful. Just watch the movie.
Totally.
So, man, I am sorry. That was so long. I told you I had a lot, but I explained this is not just all ninth grade.
Right.
This is like curriculum. And the reason is because I've planned from 12th grade backwards.
Yes.
I know where I want her to be. And I actually have many of her courses already outlined for senior all the way down to freshman year. And so it's why I've chosen a lot of what I've chosen for this year for her, but that will stretch out.
Super helpful with high school. Like I have never in my life said, when you have yet little kids, never plan more than a week. No, I'm kidding. But like, I mean, you can plan your year, but you need to be flexible. But when you get to high school, I think there is something important about kind of, and it doesn't mean you're not going to shift. It doesn't mean you're not going to change, but it just gives you a big overarching, because you don't want to get to your senior year and go, oh my goodness, I wanted to do this.
Right.
Or we doubled up, or I think it is good to kind of make a light overarching, what do you want to accomplish in those last 4 years? Yeah. And that's also going to depend on a lot. What is their next thing? You know, like if your kid is, Ivy League school bound versus trade school bound versus just regular, like versus career bound, that's going to affect a little bit of your planning too. So I would say for high school, you kind of should do an in pencil overarching.
Yes.
This is what we're going to do.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So that's it. I know that was a mouthful. I'm sorry that took so long, but I have prayed through and really very intentionally thought through what these next 4 years are going to look like for her. And so this is what the Lord led me to.
Awesome.
So I am so excited to hear about all of yours, but let's take a break first and we'll be right back. I want to tell you about 3 amazing free resources we have available right now at schoolhouserocked.com. First, we have the Affordable Homeschooling Guide. In it, Aby and I share all of our tips from many years of homeschooling on how to teach your kids well, even on a single income, without breaking the bank. Next, check out the Homeschooler's Guide to Family Law. This free guide is the key to understanding the legal landscape surrounding homeschooling and your rights as a parent. It's not enough just to know how to teach your kids, you also need to know how to protect them. Bradley Pierce from Heritage Defense shares his advice for keeping CPS out of your home and how to navigate the medical and legal systems to protect your family. Finally, every family needs to get our Homeschooler's Guide to School Choice. This is the main issue that will change the landscape of homeschooling over the next few years, and Aby and I break down everything you need to know about school choice in an easy-to-understand guide. You can find all these for free in our store. Visit schoolhouserocked.com/store to get yours today. That's schoolhouserocked.com/store. We are back with Aby Rinella. All right, Aby, you are up, my friend. Tell us what you've got.
I'm going to plow through this a little bit because I have 3 kids. So I'm going to give you just kind of an overview. So I have, and again, this does not mean that you should do this. And this does not mean that we are bound to this, but this is my map for this next year. So I will have a 6th grader, a 9th grader, and a 12th grader. So I'll kind of go through each of those. For 6th grade, it's also interesting because my 6th grader, like I've already done 6th grade multiple times now. So I can look back and go, oh gosh, we didn't need to like overstress that, or we didn't need to spend as much, I didn't need to be as bound by that curriculum as I thought, right? Yeah. Because I now have a 12th grader and I'm realizing we have met every single requirement by her 11th grade year. Yeah. And so I look back and I really wish that I would have spent more time rabbit trailing, less time trying to get everything done, more time following passions and excitements. And I learned a lot. You always learn a lot in hindsight, right? And so I want to tell all of you moms with youngers, you are not bound by the 170-day curriculum. You will destroy you will make an incredible, robot, but you are not going to capitalize on your kids' curiosities and follow their curiosities and their loves. And so loosen up, lighten up. You have enough time to get everything done that you want to get done. 12 years is plenty. So chill out and just make it about a love of learning and teach them how to learn, and not so much like, what's the saying? We're not filling buckets, we're igniting fires, right? And that's what I love. And so I obviously by, a couple kids in, you have that figured out and you can loosen up a little bit more, which also takes a lot of pressure off of us, and it makes connections better, and it makes it a lot more fun to learn. So all that to say, we are, for language arts, we're kind of taking, so we love Sunlight because for a certain season, we love literature-based units, especially for history. I love history. I think history is important to teach the kids. So we've always done Sunlight history. So right now, Winnie's in the middle of American history. We're taking a couple years to do the Sunlight American history so that we can interject and find and, rabbit trail and do fun things. So this year, what we're going to do is there's a few history and science units that are literature based. So when I get to telling you what we're going to do for science and history, that will also be our literature.
Okay.
For writing. Oh, also I found this great website called, I think it's pronounced Progeny Press. Press.
Okay.
But what's really cool is I'm going to use it for all my kids. Basically, it's a whole bunch of books that you can get at the library or whatever, but they have done book units on them, like chapter questions, discussion questions, because sometimes you want to read a book and sometimes it's fun to just read a book and have no assignments, but they offer some cool either assignments or discussion questions or prompts or even just to really, some kids you're like, did you actually read it? Here are some basic questions for it, So I'm going to utilize that this year. I've never used it, and I'm not recommending it yet because I haven't used it, but it's something that I'm definitely interested in. So I'm checking them out. For writing, for both my I'll just cut to the chase for both of them. For both my 6th grader and my freshman, we're going to use Master Books Writing Strands.
Okay.
We've never used it. I'm super excited about it. Yeah. My 9th grader is an incredible writer and my 6th grader is an amazing writer. And so I feel like it sucks the life out of them sometimes to do so much like, write, another 5-paragraph essay or what are the parts of speech, which really I ended up being a writer. I never knew, but I ended up being a published writer, and I can't tell you every part of speech either. So
Aby,
okay.
If you had done classical conversations, you would know.
I would know.
8 parts of speech.
Right? Exactly.
Parts of speech. Woo!
But so we're doing the writing strands, and we'll do it loosely because the one thing that I have a passion as a writer is I don't want to suck the love of writing out of my kids. And I've learned that with heavy writing curriculum, it tends to suck the love of creative writing out of them. And so I want them to always, because I just see in them the ability to write, in those two especially. So this is going to be more, it says focuses on skills such as organization, narration, and argumentation. So we're trying it and I'm excited about it. I looked through it and it feels very doable to me. It doesn't feel overwhelming. So we will be doing that. And then for history and geography, I'm really excited because we are doing, like I said, Sunlight American history. And we took a little hiatus in there and we did the Prairie Companion, which is a little unit study on Little House on the Prairie. And we did that for Westward Expansion, and so we do a lot of rabbit trails. Again, parents, do not take your curriculums 180 days or 70 days or whatever and just do it because you miss out on so much. Yeah. So here's my 5-year goal, right? And we can interweave. So we took a break from that and we didn't take a break. We interwove that Prairie Companion, Prairie Primer. Anyway, loved that. So now we're taking another break because now we've finished Lewis and Clark and we're kind of in the area where the Pacific Northwest has been settled, right? And because we live in Idaho, I was at a homeschool convention and found the coolest curriculum. It's from a company called Sparrow Homeschool, and she was a homeschool mom that lives in the Pacific Northwest. So if you don't live in the Pacific Northwest, this is pretty specific. It can be used, depending on what your states, it can be used to meet those local state history, requirements. But it is from a Christian, creation-based, young earth apologetics worldview. So they take you from Genesis all the way through. It is beautiful. It is you can do it kindergarten through 12th grade. It's like a family integrated. So both my freshman and sixth grader will be doing it, but they will be doing it, they'll both have their separate levels, but then we can come together and do it together. So I'm so excited. Like if you're watching the video, like this is the pamphlet, but this is what all the pictures look like. It's beautiful.
So cool.
I shared it with a friend and she is doing it with a local elementary school co-op. So they're actually going to all independently do the curriculum and then come together for the hands-on activities once a week. Okay. That's a fun way of doing it too. My kids are a little older, so they probably aren't going to be into that. We'll see. But this is what both my 6th grader and my 9th grader will be doing. Some of what they will be doing for their history. And then for science, we'll be doing botany with my 6th grader. We also love that Apologia general science, and that will come later, but she's very into plants right now and into all of that. So we'll be doing botany, and I'm kind of going to piecemeal some botany stuff together for her. And so she's super excited about that.
And we actually used the Apologia elementary botany, and it's fantastic.
Yes. I did that with my older kids, and it was really, really good. So I'll probably piecemeal some of that. I'll do some other integrate.
You're the nature girl.
Yes. That's kind of the thing is we did an ethnobotany course, and I shared this on another episode way in the back of days, years ago probably. But my kids love ethnobotany, which is basically using local plants for medicinal and food purposes. Like that's kind of what we love to do. So there is no ethnobotany curriculum out there. So I reached out. I know. Well, I reached out to our anthropology department at our state university because they have an ethnobotany course. Oh. And that teacher, that university professor, it was mind blowing. She basically put together like all this stuff for me, and I piecemealed all this stuff, and we did an ethnobotany course. Okay. It's fascinating, but ethnobotany is different depending on where you live in the country. So reach out and figure it out. But my kids love that. So I like to piecemeal stuff like that, and they love it. So that kind of carries on because that's a never ending field of study. So we're still always doing ethnobotany. So anyway, okay, that is that for her. We're also doing for her, I don't know what you would call this. It's not really Bible, but she's doing foundation worldview, and it's called careful thinking. And I am so excited about this because it's kind of logic, kind of Bible, and it's just teaching kids careful thinking. I'm beyond excited about this.
This one is Foundation Worldview by Elizabeth Urbanowitz.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it one of their online programs?
It's one of okay. So that's what I was going to say. It is an online, it is videos. But we will do it together because I still think she's little. I'm not going to set her and anything like that. You just want to do with your kid because that's where the great, incredible, deep conversations come in. Yeah. So I have not done this with my older kids, and I'm so bummed. Like I found that, like you're like, oh, I wish I could go back and do this with you guys too. But I'm super excited about that. And then while she's doing that, I'll share what I'm doing with the older kids. Because they won't be doing that. This one's more geared for her age. So I'm super excited. We'll link to that. They have several, she has several things on her website, but we're going to start with the careful thinking. That one I think it's really important right now, you guys. I think it's so important that we are teaching our kids good thinking, right? Yeah. Not what to think, but how to think and how to think biblically through a biblical worldview and be able to analyze what we see around us through a biblical lens. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, we'll link actually. We've had Elizabeth Urbanowitz on the podcast a couple of times. And so we'll link back to those because Foundation Worldview, they're an amazing team and they have so many great resources for kids kind of all ages. But I want to say most of them are focused on elementary.
Yeah, I'd say elementary, middle. Yeah. That's what I would say. The other thing is, okay, so sorry, I'll go back to kind of you would call it circle time or basket time or what did you call it? Morning time or group time or whatever. So we meet in the mornings, all of us together, and we do Bible. And I always disclaimer, Bible is not a school subject because you don't graduate from Bible. You don't create Christmas break off of Bible. You don't take summer break off of Bible. Bible is just a way of life. It's like meals, right? Meals aren't part of school, but you have to incorporate them into school. So we incorporate the Bible into everything that we learn. But we do a specific studying of the Bible. And for the last few years, we've just done reading through the Bible, Genesis through Revelation together. And then we read the book of the Bible, and then we do a not consumed study on that specific book of the Bible. And then we watch the videos from the Bible Project on that book of the Bible. And then we discuss that book of the Bible, and then we move to the next book of the Bible, so that over a course of however many years, it's not like planned out. It's when we get it done, we get it done. So we're now just right past the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We finished those. So we still are going to finish the New Testament this year. And so we use not consumed for that. We actually read the book of the Bible. Then we do a story out of the children's Bible of that book of the Bible. We just kind of did as many as we can to study that book. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing in that morning time. Cool. And I've loved that. It's just been a really fun way to dive in to the book to the Bible as a whole. So that's our morning time. And then we do some other fun stuff in our morning time, like learn about a kid from certain cultures or just kind of all sorts of fun things. Okay, so I'm trying to power through. So 9th grade, my 9th grader, we're still on teaching textbooks for math, because for my 9th grade son, I am finding that he is becoming more independent from mom. And that's what we want. We want to raise men, right? We want to raise men that are independent. Yeah. And so the more independent things he can do apart from me, the less struggle there is. I'll just say that, right? Where my daughter, who's a senior, would have been happy forever having mom sit with her and hold her hand. But and it's good. I had to realize that, this is good. It's good that my son is like, give me my work, let me do my thing, and then I'm going fishing. So he'll be teaching textbooks and language arts. Like I said, he's doing master books, writing strands. And then for lit, I have a couple things. One, not consumed. Again, we're like big fans of them. They actually have a literature study that I've used for all my kids. And what's really cool about it is you pick the books. And then it goes with any book, right? So it does suggest, I think it has room for like 3 autobiographies, 3 fictions, 3, whatever, all these different books. But you have the kids fill these things out based on any book they're reading. And that's what we're doing with him. We've done it before, because then they can pick the books they want, or you can pick the books you want, kind of like you picked all those books. So the not consumed literature study thing will go with any of those books. I think that that's an excellent for anybody. Awesome. And you don't have to, it's not like a start to finish curriculum. Right. It's just a really great resource to use with any books. Again, Progeny Press will be doing some book study stuff on there too. So I'll just pick a book list for him or let him, and then those will be the assignments for it. Okay. He will be doing the Pacific Northwest history thing also. And I'm excited for that for him. For science, he is my science and math kid, 100%. He is also an incredible writer. He's kind of has it all around. But so for science, what we're going to do, because he did that general science through Apologia, really liked it, did it through a co-op. But then last year we did Master Books, did like a bioengineering or something, because and he loved that, right? It was our first Master Books science. And so I was
didn't you do the videos with those as well?
We did the videos. They were phenomenal. And then we did the book that came with Master Books. There was a couple books that came with it. It was so cool. And he absolutely loved it. It basically took, because again, our family, it took things in creation and how man used God's design to then create, kind of like a bird to make a plane, that kind of thing. It was really good. So I was like, okay, what else does Master Books have this year that would fit? So we're doing this. It's called the Survey of Science, History, and Concepts. Okay. And I would say it's like a general science, because there's 4 things that come with it. You're getting biology, physics, chemistry, and science math in there. All of those over the course of a year. I think he's really going to like it because it mixes it up a lot. You get all 4 of those things, and it's a good overview. Yeah. We'll do that for his freshman year, because then he can go into specialized science later, because he's very science-minded. And then what I'm doing with my older 2, while my littlest does that foundation worldview, is I stumbled upon this. Again, I can't necessarily recommend it because we haven't done it yet, but I've extensively looked into it, and I'm super excited. It's through Focus on the Family, and it's called RVL Discipleship.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Okay, have you? I'm super excited about it. And basically, it's like, these are the different sessions. It's the kind of the study of discipleship, right? Of what does it mean to be a disciple? Who were the disciples? What does it mean to be a modern day disciple? The videos just looked super cool and really captivating. I think that the way that we're going to do it is I'm not going to do, they offer two different things. Like they offer the super extensive one and then the holding back, well, not holding back, but you know what I mean? The one that's a little less, right? And so I think what we'll do is we'll watch the videos as a family because, you know, sometimes you sit down as a family and you're like, let's watch funny YouTube videos. Right. And instead of doing that, will be something we can watch as a family all together. I'm really excited about it. I will report back as to what it is, but and how it is. So what does RVL stand for? Do you know? I couldn't figure it out. Okay. We'll just put some random acronym in there. It doesn't, I can't, I bet you could find it, but it didn't stand out. Really something, I don't know. But it looks cool, but you can just go to their website and it shows all the videos. I'm excited about it. Last year we did the civics course with Michael Ferris. Absolutely amazing. I recommend that to every and any high school student. Yeah. And actually, if you use the code. Who publishes that? That's Michael Ferris himself. Michael Ferris puts that out. It's his own thing. If you use the code Aby20, you can get 20% off of it. Oh. Here's a pro tip. It's a pretty extensive curriculum. If you live in a state that you actually need that. I did not do the curriculum with my kids. I did just the videos. I feel like watching the videos alone, I basically had the kids watch a video and then write a summary. Okay. That was plenty for them. And it was plenty for our state. So that is a cheaper way of doing it. It's only like $100 and then you get 20% off if you use my code. The other one, it's a little bit more, but it's more, I mean, they're writing papers, they're doing research, they're, so it depends how much you want to do. So this RVL discipleship is going to kind of take that chunk of time from what we did for civics. Okay. Lastly, before I move on to my older, I'm praying about doing, I heard about, and everybody's going to be like, we already know about that, but it was my first experience knowing about NCFCA, which is a speech and debate club. Yeah. Okay. I am hoping and praying that I can, with other moms, bring that to our town. And so that will give my kid that speech and debate. Yeah. You're looking at that for your ninth grader or ninth and 12th. Your sixth grader? Ninth and 12th. Okay. So it's high school, but actually I talked to the lady and I think it's 12 years old and up. But we're not going to do that. We're going to do, I think, just high school. I don't know. It's working, but I've heard amazing things about it. It is amazing. I've actually been to a couple of NCFCA tournaments and I've actually judged a couple of them. Have you? Yes. And it is fascinating. I'm excited. The fact that these kids can debate each other and give presentations and speeches. It's amazing. And the thing is it's speech and debate, but it's incredibly biblical. It's basically how to stand and defend your faith. It's not just speech and debate that we took in high school where they would give you topics that were dumb and stupid and nobody, like it was just, this is life skills. It's learning how to respectfully stand for what you believe in a culture that doesn't believe that. And so I'm super excited about that. Yeah. That's so cool. I know. It's a leap for me. I mean, because you know that I do a lot of things and I'm like, I don't think I can do one more thing, but this is, I think, a thing that the Lord's putting on my heart to do. Yeah. So, that's so cool. Okay. And then 12th grade. Holy cow. 12th grade. Senior year. There's a lot. I looked at what we quote unquote need to do. She's met all her requirements. And so then it's basically one of those. Well, and it depends what your state requirements are. By requirements in my state, I mean what your average college would need for entry level, right? But really my requirements are my requirements. And so I'm going through what do I want my kid to know by the time they graduate? And we actually did an episode with somebody and he wrote a book like the things that your kids need to know before they leave the home. Oh, Josh Mulvihill. 50 things. Okay. Yes. 50 things your kids. So good. We're going to link to that episode. And that's an incredible book. And that's really your guide of what do your kids need to know before they leave home, right? Yes. And then you're going to need to look at your state standards. Praise God, my state is very free and my state trusts my standards for my kids. So, so I'm looking at what my 12th grader needs and what she wants to do and what she's interested in. But it was really fun to plan her senior year because there's nothing we have to do.
Yeah.
It's just kind of what do we want to do? Or like there's nothing, like it was just a different feel of like anything.
Right.
So we're going to start with, you talked about consumer math, not consumed. We did that. It was amazing. We did another one. I was just trying to find really good consumer maths out there because that's for this child, I feel like is the most important. She doesn't need calculus and all that stuff. So we're going to do Dave Ramsey consumer math this year.
Okay.
I'm super excited. I think it will be a build on to the not consumed. I also found, this is a funny story. I was telling Yvette this. I was just looking up fun consumer math stuff online. I was trying to find anything I could. And we found this one and it was really good. But one day Tatum came out and she was like, Mom, read this question. It's hilarious. And it was talking about tipping, like, because that's something you need to learn how to tip, right? And it was like, how much would you tip on a pint of beer? And I was like, wait, what? And I started to dig it. It was just some random consumer math things I found. Well, it was it's a Canadian. There was other things that they wrote in there that were like, I don't even know what that word means.
Right.
But it was a Canadian curriculum. But it wasn't even a curriculum. It was just some stuff that somebody put out that was hilarious. And I'm like, that's kind of funny because you wouldn't find that in. That was just hilarious.
Consumer math does not.
No, we laughed.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you supposed to tip more on a pint of beer than you are on like a lemonade? And it was just funny. We laughed. It was great. But what I'm excited about is Dave Ramsey's. That probably won't be in there. But again, like Yvette said, it's life skills. It's math you're going to need in everyday life. It's preparing your kid for the real world, which is our ultimate goal, right? Our ultimate goal is not to prepare our kids for a socialist university. Yeah. It is to prepare our kids for the real world and what God calls them to do. So I'm super excited.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're going to do, and this, people might think this is crazy, but I am going to literally go back to what you learn in first grade, what you learn in second grade, what you learn in third grade, in math, all of those things. And we are going to make sure that there are no holes, which your kids are going to have holes and God's going to fill them in. No big deal.
Sure.
But like, there are certain areas that I'm like, we didn't, like, you're really still, like, for me personally, I do not know my 9 times tables. To this day, I do not know them. I learned every other times table and I must have missed that week of school. I must have felt like, who cares?
9s are the fun ones because every number equals 9.
I know all that. And the thing is I know them now because I've been doing them with my kids. But there are certain things, when you look back in math and you're like, that's funny that like maybe fractions or something I just never fully or whatever. So I'm going to kind of go starting at first grade through 12th grade. And it's going to be pretty quick, but just kind of go through the hot topics of each of those. You'll be like, okay, Tatum,
years. What's 2 + 2?
Right, totally. So we probably won't start in first grade, let's be honest. But I'm just going to hit the big things and be like, is she really, I want her to be so unbelievably confident walking into the world. Like, can you make change without a calculator? Can you, like, I don't care. Yeah. These kids who graduate with a calculus degree, they can't count back change to you for the life of them. They can't. And I'm like, what good is your calculus degree, right? Or your calculus credit if you can't count back change? Yeah. So we're going to hit all those things. The other thing that she's really excited to do is she wants to do some of the unit studies with her little sister. She wants to help, right? So the botany unit study that we're going to do, the Pacific Northwest that we're going to do, she wants to kind of step into that teacher role, which I think she's going to be really good at. So it's going to help her to not only learn the stuff, but really she already knows the stuff, but learn how to teach and how to, I think she's very teacher minded. So, I mean, she doesn't
bond with her sister. That's so cool.
Yes. She doesn't desire to be a teacher by any means, but those are just skills to have. What she desires to be is a homeschool mom. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, guess what? You can kind of do some of that now. So I'm really excited about that.
That's so fun.
And then the last main thing I'm doing with her, she's going to do the RVL discipleship too, obviously.
Okay.
But the last big thing that I'm really excited about, and everybody asks me, because if you've listened to the show long enough, this daughter of mine is very into natural medicine. Mm-hmm. All the different nutrition is medicine, homeopathy, herbs, all the different things. She's very into that. And she's done multiple courses starting in, I think she started her freshman year with a basic one was called Natural Medicine. And then we did a book called Nutrition 101, and it's a total biblical worldview, amazing resource book, actually. I think it's a resource book she'll use forever, but it's also a text that she did. And then this year, I'm super excited. I found at a conference, a homeschool conference, I just stumbled upon it. It is brand new. They literally just came out with it. So we are maybe the guinea pigs, but it's a company called Wild Root, and it's called Functional Nutrition, and I'm going to show you. And so it's, if you're into any of the, it's like, functional medicine is whole body. It's a mix of, it's functional medicine. It's more, they call it alternative, but it's actually the original way God designed it, I believe. But it's called the building blocks of cellular health. And I am so excited. It goes about nutrition, digestion, blood sugar regulation, hydration, but it's all through a natural, holistic, non-Western medicine point of view. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It breaks down, it basically busts out, it gets rid of the whole food pyramid thing, the American standard, the standard American diet. It just kind of debunks all of that. I'm really, really excited about it. So I actually had her look through it to say, do you want to do this? She's a senior. She can decide if I'm interested or not. And she's done a ton of this stuff. So I'm like, is it going to be? She's like, this looks like it could be better than any other thing that I've done in this field. It says it's grades 6 through 12. Okay. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you use the code Aby, you get a discount because I'm passionate about
just ABY.
ABY. Because I'm about I want people to have discounts to try new things. Yeah. It's beautiful. And I'm passionate about a generation that learns health properly and not improperly. So that's probably what she's most excited about. Okay. And then she's going to be working a lot, right? She's going to be working a lot to start to save for the next season. I also wanted to you talked about a planner for your kids. Yeah. I love planners. I'm like the planner mom. Fun. I love colors. I like planning so much. But what I have found works for my kids, as opposed to giving them each a planner, is every week they get one piece of paper and it has all of the subjects that kid does and then what they have to do that week. Mm-hmm. And then every week they get a new piece of paper and then they turn that piece of paper in. It's really worked for us because I don't plan more than a week ahead. I can kind of show them what's required of them. And then what I'm learning as they get older is, because my son is just an out of the box schooler. He's like, can I get it all done on Monday and then go hunt and fish Tuesday through Friday? And so I'm like, sure, I guess I surrender. Like, as long as you get it done, I don't care. Yeah. And so that works for him, where I have another child who's like, this is Monday and I will do it Monday. I will never look to Tuesday because it's not Monday. Monday is Monday, right? Our kids are also different. So that's what has worked for them is that one sheet a week that I just make up on the computer and write down what they need to do that week. I think we've done an episode on planning somewhere in the past on different ways of planning, loop planning, day by day, all that. So there's different ways of doing it, but that's what works for us. So I'm beyond excited about this year. I'm really excited because I feel, again, I'm going into the year with not a staunch plan, but a guide, a map, like a direction, right? And so I always look at it like this. When I use the app on my phone to get somewhere, I always hit the tell me when to turn left, tell me where to turn right, tell me, where the stop sign is, that's just how I directionally
what's your
do
next
things.
Move?
Right.
Yeah.
What's my next move? My husband, when you open an app to get somewhere, he cannot, he short wires and he can't do it. He goes, I need you to zoom out and show me the map, the actual map, not the directions, but the map.
He wants to see the whole picture.
Give me the big atlas. Like he would like a paper map like we always used to do, right? And he goes, I can see where I am. I can see where I'm going and I know how to navigate, which I think is brilliant. And we should all be doing that, right? Because we should know how to use maps. But I view that with homeschool. Like, I don't want to be tell me my next move, tell me in 2 turns where I need to go. I want to see where I'm at and where we're going. And then we're just going to get there organically through learning together and growing together and following the kids, loves and interests. And that means if today we want to go do something entirely different, we can, right? Because that's how we learn. We learn through life. Not through a 180-day tell me what to do the next step. Right. And so that's kind of what we're entering in. And like I said, because now, and you've experienced this, once you have a senior, you realize shoulda, woulda, coulda. And so we're going to do more unit studies of things they're interested in and go, that just covered everything, right? We can do 4 unit studies a year. I don't have to do a specific this curriculum for this thing. We have to start and finish it. And so now that we're into this journey, I realize it works. It works well. And so we can loosen up a little and just be excited to learn and light the fire rather than fill the bucket. So that's what I'm really excited about this year.
I love it. And keep in mind too, parents, as you're listening, you don't, I know I hesitated even to share all of the curriculum that I have because I didn't want it to sound like all we do is school all day, every day.
Right.
We have lots of other things going on. We serve at our local crisis pregnancy center. We do co-op. We play games every day. Our family plays games together. We have read aloud time. We have our Bible devotions. We do lots of things. We're involved just in all sorts of different things outside of the home. And so it's not just all the academic stuff, and the academics are important, but we don't just focus on that. So I know it sounds like, with as much curriculum as we've talked about today, like all we do is sit and study all day long.
Don't.
There are so many other things that we do throughout the day, on the weekends, throughout the week.
Yep.
And
but that's why we also say this is
too.
what we're doing over the next 4 years. And some years, in the winter time, we hit it hard. And then we loosen up in the spring and in the fall. And it just, you work it for your family.
Right.
But just have your big picture and work backwards. Right. This is where we want to end up. And you'll really quickly learn. Like, I put so much time, when I look back, and I've shared this before, I put so much time into things that I thought were so important. And then I bring it up with the kids and they're like, we don't even remember that curriculum. I will never forget when my daughter was in first grade, we did an anatomy and physiology apologia. She built the cell out of Jell-O and the candy. I poured my life into it. I made sure that we did every single day that we were supposed to. We finished every day. We did every page. We did every activity. I poured my heart and soul into it. And I ask her about it now and she's like, don't remember any of it. Don't remember any of it. I don't remember all those things you did. And I was like, because I did too much too early. And throughout life, she's learned anatomy and physiology. She learned, 10 years worth of it in her 11th grade year because all of a sudden she fell in love with it. Right. And so she wanted to learn it all. And I'm like, wow, I did too much too early. And I held to this box that I thought they should be in and the schedule I thought they should do. And it really didn't do anybody any good. Where if I would have loosened up, I would have been a lot less stressed. And she would have learned it anyway in the moments that I could capitalize on it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, I love the freedom and flexibility of being able to teach our kids when it's best for them. You talked about, letting your kids sleep at Lacey, oh my word, she's just like her dad. She works best at night and sleeps in the morning. And so she will stay up. She'll stay up and she'll read, she'll do schoolwork until midnight, 1 a.m.
Yep.
That's just how her body functions.
Yep. And she's going to learn the best that way if you can work within how they're made.
Does. Yes. And I don't understand that because I am not a night owl. I just need to sleep, but I can get up early in the morning and do those things. Yeah. And her body just doesn't function that way.
Isn't it interesting?
I don't care if she does math or science or history at 9 or 10 o'clock
but
at night.
But I bet if you woke her up and made her do it at 7, she wouldn't retain anything, right?
Yeah,
it wouldn't do any good. And
so it would be torture for the whole house. It would be awful. Yep. So no, we've got the freedom to do that. But goodness gracious, this has been a long episode.
Yes, it has.
But it's been so much fun going through all the things that we're doing for the next year. You guys, thank you so much for being with us. We are so grateful for you. If you have not visited our website, go to schoolhouserocked.com. You can see our new website there. You can look at the different series, podcast series that we've done throughout the past few years, as well as all the other episodes we've done. And I think you can search by topic on there now. I think that's up there as well. So if you're looking for a specific podcast episode, I think you can look for that as well. Anyway, it's great. Garrett's done an amazing job of it. You can, of course, still watch the movie Schoolhouse Rocked: The Homeschool Revolution. You can watch it for free through our website. Check that out. Share it with your friends. And if you'd like to make a donation to the ministry, you can do that through our website as well. Guys, we love you so much and we are so grateful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at podcast@schoolhouserocked.com, and be sure to share this with your friends. If you're watching on video or the podcast itself, share with your friends so that they can get the encouragement as well. Aby, thank you for being with me this week.
Thank you.
It's been so fun. Have a great rest of your week, guys.
Hey, can I say one more thing, Yvette?
Yeah, of course.
We do these episodes every year. And they're timeless. So if you have younger kids than we do or whatever, or you want other ideas, you can go back and listen to all of those episodes and it will say, 5 years ago we did this. What did you guys use in, 4th grade, 3rd grade?
Right.
Like if some of this is like, that's not a fit. We have one of these episodes every single year that you can go back and listen to get other ideas for other grades, other subjects. And then usually at the end of the year, we do a recap. So you can go listen to those and find out if we even liked the stuff that we ended up using.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we will put links to all the things in the show notes to make it easy for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We love you guys. Have a great week, and we will see you back here next week. Bye.
You're listening to the Biblical Family Network.
Hey, I'm Miki.
And I'm Will.
And we're the co-hosts of the Culture Proof Podcast. We want to invite you to join us every week as we discuss what's happening in the world and then filter those happenings through a decidedly biblical lens.
There are many questions, especially when we see what's happening in our culture today, but the answers are found within the Word of God. So that's where we want to look.
Amen. When we resist those cultural trends that rival the truth,
we remain culture proof.